Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. So that means we got more of the G1 Climax by New Japan Pro Wrestling. I got a brand new updated version on who's been eliminated from the entire tournament due to not getting the necessary points. We even got NWA Powerrr, where there's still some unanswered questions about Tom Latimer turning his back on Nick Aldis, but also it appears that we have the Pope, who has a strong message to Trevor Murdoch, and of course, Tyrus being attacked by many people saying that he's not defending the title, and do not forget the tag team tournament. We even got a very short AEW Dark with only 4 or 5 matches, I presume, but also for the main event in NXT 2.0. Will Isaiah Swerve Squad walk out and is still as the North American champion and taking the title with them to SmackDown, or Santos Escobar will finally fulfill his destiny as the title he has been pursuing for far too long? So, let's get started with another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J. Right here. So, let's begin with New Japan Pro Wrestling. As you know, we're not that far off from getting to the end of the G1 Climax 31. As you may know, this tournament has been very, very impressive. Not to mention, who could most likely be the winner? Now, let's start with the opening match, which is none of the non-matches that were involved. We have Rohi Oiwa taking on one of the most best junior heavyweights in New Japan, and of course, a member of LIJ and the most craziest dude ever, Hiromu Takahashi. Now, you know for a fact that this is going to be a match where Hiromu was going to win because he's facing a young lion. Young lions are limited from the moves they have to do, but however, he did put up a good effort, but he was no match for the ticking time bomb. Now, the next 5 matches are for the G1 Climax 31 all B block action. So let's start with Tama Tonga and Taichi. Now, there's no stranger to these two guys known each other. They faced off before with the IWGP tag team titles. But however, Taichi has not been in a good sense of maneuver. He has lost various matches. I mean, he started strong, but however, Tama Tonga, we all know he is one of those guys that you know you got to keep an eye on. But however, he actually finished off Taichi with the stun gun. It's so amazing how this ended. Taichi put up a good effort. I mean, I would love to see Taichi go to the all the way to the end, but or somewhere close. I don't know. But however, he did not. But Tama Tonga finished on with the gun stun. It was over. Next match we have Sanada versus Yoshihashi. Sanada was the fan favorite by certain people who love him. Yoshihashi, well, we all know he's getting the experience. I mean, he did a pretty good job last year, but this year he did a pretty good job as well. But however, Sanada ended him with the skull in order to win this match. Next match, we have Chase Owens taking on Kazuchika Okada. Now, however, there was a big fear knowing that because his upset against Hiroshi Tanahashi, they thought maybe history would repeat itself with Okada. But you know the Rainmaker will not give in. So he finished him off with the money clip, which is recently he's been rarely been using that submission move. So Chase Owens had no other choice but to tap out, allowing for Okada to win. Next match we have Evil versus Hiroki Goto. Now keep in mind, Hiroki Goto is eliminated, but it was still work to be done. Evil was hanging in the balance. Now he needs to win his upcoming matches in order to stay in. But recently during his G1 tournament, he has the spoiler Dick Togo getting himself involved in his matches. He choked out Hiroki Goto in order for Evil to ensure he wins. Now, Evil could be one of the potentials to win the B block, but we'll just wait and see. And finally, we have the unstoppable Jeff Cobb taking on Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, Tanahashi did everything possible that he win, but he was still no match. Jeff Cobb is yet to be defeated. He is undefeated, no losses in this tournament for this one. Now let's review the points. Now this was updated on Wrestling Observer today. Now let's go from the A blocks and the B blocks. Kota Ibushi currently has 12 points with 6 wins and 2 losses. Shingo Takagi, 10 points with 5 wins and 2 losses. Same thing with Kenta, 10 points, 5 wins and 2 losses. Zack Sabre Jr., 10 points, 5 wins and 2 losses. Tomohiro Ishii, 8 points, 4 wins and 3 losses. Same thing with Yano, 8 points with 4 wins and 3 losses. Great-O-Khan, 8 points, 4 and 4, and he's out. Now, don't tell me why. It's like, wait a minute. You probably ask me this. Isn't Ishii and Yano have 8 points? Yes, basically that's what happened. But I don't know how this whole thing works. It's a little twisted, but that's how it goes. Tangaloa, 4 points with 2 wins and 5 losses. He's already out. The same thing with Yujiro Takahashi, 4 points with 2 wins and 5 losses. He's already out. As we know, Naito, he is officially out because of the injury that he obtained on night 1 against Zack Sabre Jr. Now for the B block, let's look up what we got. We got Jeff Cobb, who is undefeated with 7 wins and no losses. Same thing with Okada. 7 wins and no losses. Both of them gained 12 points. 14 points. My bad. Evil has 12 points with 6 wins and 1 loss. Hiroshi Tanahashi, he's already eliminated with 6 points with 3 wins and 4 losses. Same thing with Sonata. He's already eliminated. So is Goto. For Goto, Yoshihashi, all have the same thing with 2 wins and 5 losses, including Chase Owens. So that's pretty much the updated version for what's happening. Now, the B block, I'm practically now paying attention. There is a possibility whoever wins this particular one. There is Jeff Cobb and Okada, who I do believe that there could be the last 2 men who could remain in the G1 for the B block finals. Now, of course, the A block, right now, I'm still hoping in this point, Zack Sabre Jr., Shingo, and Kota Ibushi and Kenta could be one of those potentials. Now, no disrespect to Yano and Ishii, I don't know if I can see them getting all the way to the finals. But as you know, Kota Ibushi had made to the finals before. But right now, we gotta focus on what's gonna happen right now for the upcoming events with the G1 to see who's going to advance. And I'm kind of curiosity. Like curiosity killed the cat, but let's just wait right now. Alrighty then, so we got the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance with NWA Powerrr. It opened up with tag team action for the tournament. Whoever wins this one will get a shot with the NWA World Tag Team titles that currently La Rebelión has, Mecha Wolf and Bestia. Now, this is the semifinal, so we have Sal Renauer teaming with Nims, along with, taking on Hawks Aerie. Now, this was a very interesting match. As you know, Hawks Aerie is one of the most father and son tag teams we've ever seen. As you know, PJ Hawks is the son. His father, Luke, is the veteran. It shows a lot of character in these two guys. But however, I was like, to me, going for Hawks Airy because I would like to see it's with the exception of the Mysterios being the first ever father and son in WWE. I would like to see them outside of that scenario with Hawks Airy, and luckily PJ pulled off a victory for his team, and of course Luke could never be proud of his own son. He's very proud of him that he finally pulled it off. And I say, but they are in the finals. But however, the main event is also part of the tag team tournament. Whoever wins that match will meet Hawks Airy in the finals, and whoever wins that one will face off against La Rebellion. Now, as you know, because we had the championship series, the Pope decided to send a clear message to Trevor Murdoch. Now, this is not like he was dissing him or anything. It's mostly what he felt. He was saying that he is well aware about his reputation, to understand where he's coming from, and all that. And of course, Trevor Murdoch understands him. He respects him. Like, he's not afraid of what he has to say. Of course, Trevor Murdoch is not an idiot. He knows that he has a target in his back. He knows that anybody from the championship series could win, get a shot of that title, and it's not a secret. But that's what happened. Now, as you know, Camille has no opponent for the NWA World Women's Championship. So they decided to set up a match so there was an interview of the three potential winners that could win. We have Chelsea Green, as you know, she is the first ever Women's Invitational Cup winner. Melina, who is still in a grudge storyline with Camille. And of course, the most fun-loving girl, Kylie Ray. I have to say it was great. So that match will take place the following week. But to me, I'm a bit biased because all these women are great. But I cannot put heads or tails on this one. Maybe you guys do, but you guys tell me, who do you think will win that match? Now we get to the NWA World Television title. Now this is becoming a very interesting story, how it goes. Ever since Tyrus won the television title against the Pope, Austin thinks that Pope is a punk but the way we're seeing it, Tyrus is taking this the easy way. He aligned himself with Black G's and of course Jordan Clearwater, and these guys are willing to put themselves on the line to ensure Tyrus wins. Now keep in mind, the television title is designed if you guys win 7 straight matches. If you win all 7 straight matches, beating the clock of 6 minutes and 5 seconds, you automatically will get a shot of the 10 pounds of gold, the NWA World Heavyweight title. Now, Trevor Murdoch is self-aware. So basically, in this particular match, it appears that Tyrus is taking the easy way. Tyrus is sick and tired of people criticizing him. And that kind of tells a good story, saying, I don't give a damn. And of course, Austin Idol thinks Tyrus is going to win the whole thing and get a shot at the title. And that's how it is. Even though he beat Jordan Clearwater, no one cares. Because some people say he is abusing his power as a champion to ensure he gets his 7 victories. But we'll see where they're going to go with that. Now, as you know, with the success of Empower, it looks like things like with Empower is still going to continue on. Apparently, more shows were produced with all female wrestlers is going to continue happening. Still more to come about that. But however, it appears Kiera Hogan, who grew up watching Mickie James as a young girl, has something to say. Now, Mickie James is willing to talk to her, be professional, and discuss this privately with her, knowing what's been bothering her. Now, as you know, she has a deal with AEW. I don't know how this relationship between them and NWA. There have been reports that they have been having a bit of a issue because they're saying that the AEW bought off NWA to have Thunder Rosa in their promotion. I don't know, but we'll see how that. But I feel like the storyline between Mickie James and Kiera Hogan is very interesting to watch. Now we get to the most interesting thing. As you know, Tom Latimer betrayed his best friend. He was best man at his wedding, Nick Aldis. The reason he attacked him is because he believed that Nick Aldis, he's up here and he's down here. So there's been like, now they're telling he's in a state of jealousy. Even Camille decided to say the suits, the free watches, the free everything, and not to mention, even Trevor Murdoch agrees that he crossed the line with calling out about his son, saying that he wants him to look into his eyes, telling him how much of a failure he is, and all this to that. But you do not bring a family over. If I was Nick Aldis, I would take a big war with him. And that is something you got to pay attention about. So this could be an interesting Jane. Now, as soon as Camille and Tom Latimer left, here comes James Storm, who's happy as a clam that he's happy where he's going to be. And he appears that he has one thing in mind, and that is to get a shot of the national title that currently Chris Adonis has. Now it's still unclear when would that happen, but we got to pay attention a little closer on that. Now the main event is the one match I told you about, the part of the semifinals, the tag team title tournament semifinals. We have The End, Perro and Odison taking on Aaron Stevens and JR Kratos. Now, a lot of people were questioning because of the loss of the tag titles, they all assume Kratos is leaving. But Kratos decided to stick his guns and side with Stevens and telling him, I know there's that killer instinct inside of you. I'm not leaving until you bring that person out. Now, he could have brought that up as much as possible, but however, it did not. Somehow Odison picked up a very impressive victory and allowing himself to win. So I think that kind of plays out. But the real question is, what's going to happen next week ever since this loss? Okay, I mentioned earlier that AEW Dark is a very short one with only 4 matches, which is okay. The first match we have is the Captain Sean Dean versus Andre Lockhart. Now, Lockhart has made his appearance in AEW before during the Dark episodes, but Sean Dean has been one of the most prominent wrestlers that have been popular in Dark and possibly Elevation. And of course, no one can deny his skills. And as you know, he is signed with AEW. It happened like some point this year, and we all thought he was about to do one of his infamous moves, but he didn't do that. It did not happen. But he did pick up a very good win. Next up, we got Kylan King taking on Ashley DeBron. Hopefully, I pronounced it right. If not, then myself in the head for that. But Kylan King, as you know, we have seen how impressive she is for someone like her in her size, and it plays out pretty well. Now, I'm still undetermined whether if she's signed or not. But if anybody knows that, please leave a comment down below and tell me that because I cannot tell at all. But she did pick up an impressive victory with Ashley. But sorry, excuse me, a little sleepy. Eat caffeine. The next up we got is Wardlow versus a guy from the UK named Darian Bensting. As you know, when it comes to Wardlow, first thing in mind is that Wardlow's gonna kill you. And you know that's how it is. Wardlow's a huge dude. That's why they call him Mr. Mayhem. And you know how he ends his matches when he knocks his opponent down and the ref tells him it's off. He's done. Now the final match was Anthony Green. If you know him as Austin Gray, yes, he's in it. Facing off against Dark Order member Evil Uno. I have to say this was a very fun match. Now, there was something the commentators have made a good valid point about Uno. We have known Uno as a tag team specialist with Stu Grayson. But recently, he's now developing more and more into a singles competitor. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, his match with Miro was pretty good. If you guys seen his single matches he's done outside of AEW, like I've seen it with Warrior Wrestling and a few others, but you can catch those on his vlogs. He does have matches like that, but it was an impressive win, allowing himself to win against Anthony Green. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him a little more, like maybe less in AEW as singles competitor, but maybe more outside of it. But Evil Uno did pick up an impressive victory. I can't wait to see what's going to happen on Dynamite. But right now, we got to pay attention to what's going to happen on Rampage. And do not forget the buy-in, where we have 2 matches that will take place on YouTube. So stand by for that, because I mentioned that earlier. But right now, I'm thinking I'm going to end it with NXT 2.0. Okay, NXT 2.0. It opened up when we saw Hit Row members, um, the Top Dollar, BFAB, and of course Isaiah Swerve Scott. But no on Ashante the Adonis. No one knows what happened, but it was revealed Legado had something to do with it. What happened is Legado decided that they're not going to tolerate with those guys costing him another chance of the to obtain the North American title. Santos Escobar has been hell bent believing that title is meant for him. It represents what Mexico is. However, apparently Santos wants to keep this a fair fight for him himself, but we all know that's not true. However, Swerve Scott knows that he's trying to release his inner demons, trying to rile them up. Well, it was working. Now, the opening match, this is a stipulation. Joe Gazi wants to be part of the title hunt along with Champa and Braun Breaker. However, if he loses, he will not get a shot. But I have to say, this put, of course, Tommaso Ciampa to the test against facing off against a newcomer like Joe Gazi. But however, Ciampa ended pretty well with the match. But all of a sudden, Paxter shows up and attacks both Ciampa and Joe Gazi. Now, I don't know what the hell with Joe Gazi got into. He's like trying to control him by touching his face. I don't know if he's like being some sort of a religious fanatic or whatever. I wrote down what the hell on that. It's still unclear what's going on, but the storyline is kind of curious. So we'll figure that out when it comes. Now, as you know, Toxic Attraction has been making headways. Mandy Rose has finally made her intention known. She wants to strip away the NXT women's title away from Raquel, believing that her time is up. And the same thing goes with her 2 cohorts members of the Total Attraction, Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, who are also on the hunt for the NXT women's tag team titles. So they already made their presence known and saying their numbers are matched, and the specific date for that match is for both matches are going to take place at Halloween Havoc. However, Raquel Gonzalez later on stated, okay, it's going to happen, but with another stipulation. Spin the wheel, make the deal. We all know what happened last year, but this time, let's see what happens when we spin the wheel. And it's too bad that Shotzi Blackheart is not involved. I mean, I would love to see her back, but we'll see when they're going to go with that. Now, our next match we have is Zion Quinn versus Malik Blade. I mean, Zion has been a very impressive wrestler. He is a very interesting someone, but his powerhouse and the way he handles business against Malik Blade is very impressive. Now, not a whole lot has been told. I don't know if he's done any promos or anything or have any interviews, but it was pretty impressive. Now, Tommaso Ciampa, as he knows, he get his mind right now. He knows he has Braun Breaker coming up in Halloween Havoc. However, he was interrupted by the Grizzled Young Veterans. Now, the Grizzled Young Veterans, I don't know if they're trying to stir the pot up, but Braun Breaker will not tolerate this. However, even though he backed them up And next week, he and Champa are in a tag team match against the Grizzled Young Veterans. Braun Breaker wants to ensure he stays 100% before Halloween Havoc. Now, some of you can say, is that wise for him? Well, I think he wants to bring out the best out of him. I mean, people can say that could be a dangerous thing, but I think Breaker is trying to say, look, don't take things easy with me. Bring it out. Be hard with me. And if that's the case, then it shows Breaker doesn't want things easy. He wants things done the hard way. But the question becomes, be careful what you wish for. Now, the next match, we are seeing the in-ring debut of Diamond Mine member Ivy Nile taking on Valentina Ferros. It was very impressive. Not to mention when she had her like in some sort of like a torture rack, bending her down, and right now with her winning, and that it does put a question: when will we see her going for the NXT Women's Title? Now this was just her first match, but Malcolm Bivens did state it out that all the women should be afraid, very afraid of what they just see. However, as we know, they have the Creed brothers as the most interesting faction, the tag team in the division. It's only a matter of time before we get to see them uh, obtain the tag team titles. And of course, we cannot forget the Cruiserweight champion, Roderick Strong. It appears that someone wants to challenge him, and that is Ikemanjiro, who wants to challenge him for the title, but Julius Creed told him that he doesn't deserve it, but the only way to earn it is to get through him. Jiro put every trick up his sleeve to ensure that he wins every move he can put, but he was no match for Julius, and of course Julius put him away completely, and then later we saw the Dynamite beatdown. Kushida showed up, who we haven't seen since his loss to Roderick Strong, tried to help, but however, the number games is just too much. What else we got? Okay. Now, as you know, recently we have seen a very unusual pairing. As you know, Kyle O'Reilly has issues trusting people because of his history with Undisputed Era. We now know where Fish and Cole is. They're in AEW. But of course, we know where Roderick Strong is at. So he teamed up with Wagner, who saved his life not once, but twice. But Wagner told him, like it or not, you need someone to have your back. And that's going to be me. They're facing off against Pete Dunne and Rich Holland. And I have to say, it was a very impressive tag team. Now, you can say it's like, do we really need to see Kyle O'Reilly as a tag team? No, but we can see him, do more things. Maybe have Wagner watch his back and Kyle can watch his back too. I mean, they could get a shot of the tag team titles down the line, but only time will tell because to me, I feel like he already superseded that, but he should go for the NXT title, which is something that he's been longing for. But there's something about Kyle O'Reilly that we will talk about at a later time. But it was Von Wagner who picked up the victory when he put away Rich Holland. It was an impressive win, and I think Kyle O'Reilly was impressed too. So we'll see what happens. Now, the next thing we have is, of course, Duke Hudson taking on Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller has been making headways in WWE as an impressive wrestler, but however, in this particular match, Duke Hudson has found a way to take a fast one on Waller, ensuring he wins. But I don't think this is going to end well. But I don't know if Waller's thinking about getting payback against him. Only time will tell. Next up is more of the women's tag team division. We have Persia Pirota and Indy Hartwell taking on Amari Miller and Saray. Now, it was a very good match. It did tell the story that we can see. It was Persia and Indy that were able to pick up the victory. Thanks to Indy for that. However, their sights are on the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. But Io Shirai and Zoe Stark are self-aware what they're gunning for. We cannot forget Toxic Attraction. They are not behind. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if in Halloween Havoc we see a triple threat for the NXT women's tag team titles. That is something I may We'll feel like it's gonna happen, but we'll just wait and see, possibly by next week. Now, our main event is for the NXT North American title. As I mentioned before, Santos Escobar kidnapped every member of Hit Row. It's his insurance policy to ensure that the match goes 1-on-1. But it was an impressive match. I think it was one of the most well respected watched shows. As you know, Swerve is now heading to the main roster, along with the members of Hit Row. They've become a very popular group. And of course, it was great. However, none of them were able to pick up a victory. But knew right from the start that Legado were going to show up to ensure. But all of a sudden, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams showed to give a helping hand. And I think this is the last thing that Santos Escobar expected out of him. But it was Swerve Scott that picked up an amazing victory. But as an idiot, I must slap myself in the head for this one. I forgot that Carmelo Hayes had something. As you all know, he is the winner of the NXT Breakout Tournament. As you know, he has a contract for any title of his choosing. That means either the North American title, the Cruiserweight title, the Tag Team titles, and of course, the NXT title. And he chose the North American title, so he cashed it in. Now, I don't know how much fight Isaiah Swerve Scott, and I think it showed he was not willing to go down without a fight. But however, because he's already been worn out by the match against Santos, as Carmelo Hayes called a shot and won the match. And I thought it was very impressive. And I think this is his way of making sure Scott to drop the title and for him to make his way, because I feel the North American title belongs to NXT. Now, but I do have a thought about this. Because of this match, I have a feeling this is not the end of it. Because now Carmelo Hayes is now the winner, is now the North American champion. There is one person that's not going to tolerate. He's going to be pissed off that someone took something that belongs to him, and that is Santos. Santos has been chasing this title ever since Braun Strowman became champion himself. He believes the title itself represents what Mexico is, and now he tried to take it away from Swerve. He failed, but this time he will not tolerate. He warned him to stay away from that, but this time I'm not sure if Santos is going to start a war with him or a feud. But I'm kind of curious what's going to happen next week with Carmelo Hayes as the new champion. But will we see a feud between him and Santos Escobar? You may never know. But for now, I think I'll end it right here for NXT 2.0. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed me reviewing these shows that I enjoyed talking about, reviewing what I thought about it or whatever. What a fantastic stories. Just a friendly reminder for all of you AEW fans. There is no AEW today because of the basketball. I'm cool with it. It's going to be on Saturday. And do not forget about the buy-in that's taking place 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, I think, or Central. We're going to have Minoru Suzuki versus Daniel Bryanson, but we also have Lee Moriarty taking on Bobby Fish. I have to say that's going to be a good match. So I'm excited for all of that. Now, for the upcoming episode, we do have the return for this season of Got to Move's Choco Pro event. I can't wait to see what took place. We also got more on day 15 of the G1 Climax. As I mentioned before, there have been already wrestlers that have been eliminated from the tournament, but the matches continue on until we finally see what happens. Of course, we have Major League Wrestling. If it happens, we got the Alpha, the MLW Fusion. Hopefully, if that's the case, we're gonna have. Then I'll review that too. And decided to review a past event from a promotion I never heard of. It's called Cape Championship Wrestling, or CCW. They had an event that took place at July 31st, and I'm kind of curious to see how this particular event is, because here in Deleted Wrestle Zone, I like to talk about and review events from promotions I never heard of, and I'll continue to review all of these for all of you, because Deleted Wrestle Zone, it's all about reviewing all promotions all over the world. Doesn't matter if it's here in the States, in Mexico, Canada, Europe, UK, Japan, anywhere in the world. I love reviewing all of this for all of you because there's a lot of good wrestling shows out there to watch, and I'm pretty much open to anything. So that's the reason I do this, because there's a lot of wrestling shows you may or may not like. If there's a specific one you'd like me to review all the time, then I'll keep doing that. But that's just me. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.